welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and this is one of those days when I just know this puzzle is going to be incredible because it's like all the stars are aligning in its favour. We have had loads of recommendations to try this. It's called Circular Reasoning, and it's by Marty Sears. I did a Marty Sears puzzle, it feels like about a week or two ago. Marty's puzzles are always incredibly clever, incredibly original. The rule set to this one is 3 sentences long. It's one of the shortest rule sets I've seen recently. But as I say, this has just had recommendation after recommendation. It's meant to be spectacularly clever. And so, yeah, basically the world has given us all a present today because we're going to get to do Marty's puzzle. So, Marty, I'm looking forward to trying this one. And I'll share those 3 sentences of rules with you in a moment or two's time. I don't have much news today. Just as usual, there's a chance over on Patreon to win our new merch. Let me see, where's my picture of the cap? Ah! I've misplaced the cappage. Look at this. It's not in the right place today. There you go. This is our new bit of merch that we released earlier in the month, and you have a chance to win that on our Sudoku hunt, which is available over on Patreon. 7 puzzles in all to crack. It's called Lines and Shapes, and heralds the arrival of our new Sudoku app, Line Sudoku, which we are really, really close to being able to confirm the release of. Other than that, a couple of birthdays to do today. Dominic, it's your birthday over there in Germany, and I know this because your wife Lydia wrote to us. And Dominic, I think you watch every day apparently, so thank you very much for bearing with us. And then Hayley, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your boyfriend Ant wrote to us. And apparently the two of you watch together most evenings with a cup of tea, which sounds very civilised. I wonder if you also stretch to having chocolate cake. I do hope so. Hayley, happy birthday. And that's all the news. So let's have a look at Circular Reasoning and see what Marty's got in store for us. I will put my hands on my keyboard. I will hope my keys work today. And the rules are as follows. We've got normal Sudoku rule supplies. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, just once each. A circled digit. This is a strange bit of the rules. A circled digit indicates exactly how many circles contain that digit. And the reason I like this is that the title of the puzzle is Circular Reasoning. And that sort of does feel a bit, it just feels circular because, so the circle digit indicates how many circles contain that digit, but obviously by putting that digit into a circle, it's sort of counted in the digit count. Anyway, that's one rule. The other rule is that digits along an arrow sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So those 4 cells there sum to that digit, which is already actually interesting. Let's have a look at that one. I mean, imagine this was a 2 and this was a 6. 2 plus 6 equals 8. That's exactly how that arrow would work. So, fairly normal rules apart from the circles. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, we could... I just highlighted this arrow. I think I am going to look at this because this must be at least a 7. I can say that straight away. And in fact, there's a few things you can say about 4-cell arrows. The first is that they must have a repeated digit on them. And that's because the triangular number for 4 is 10. So if we were to try and make all these different digits different, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10, and I can't put 10 into the circle, not even into these strange circles. So there is definitely a repeated digit, and obviously these cells can't repeat. They're all in the same box of the Sudoku. So this digit repeats in one of those squares. Now, the minimum sum of these squares would be a 1, 2, 3 triple adding to 6. So once we add this digit in, we're going to arrive at least 7, and that also tells us this digit cannot be higher than 3. So that's because if it was 4 and repeated, we would add up again to at least 11, which is too high. We can make this 3 if this is a 1, 2, 3 triple. I suppose one more thing. There must be a 1 in these 3 digits, because if there wasn't, this would be 2, 3, 4. And once we add this digit in, again, we're going to end up with a double digit total. So that arrow is powerful. That's got some serious constraints upon it. But even such a powerful arrow, and this is undoubtedly thus, it's not going to be enough, is it? We're going to have to understand these circles, I think. It looks like, to me, it's something to do with the fact we've got so many circles in row 5 and column 5. So is there a digit you can't put in a circle? If you put a 1 in a circle, it's interesting. Because if you put a 1, if you say we put a 1 there, that's the only, then that would be a 1. Because the 1 is saying that there is one digit 1 in all the circles. So in this column, we couldn't put a 1 in another circle, and that would be a 1. But that seems possible, doesn't it? Maybe it's better to think about it the other way round. 9 in a circle. 9 in a circle is telling us there are 8 other circles with 9 in them. That would only be interesting if there was a row or a column with only... There is a row or a column with only one circle in it, that one. Yeah, so if there is a 9 in any circle, because there must therefore be 9 9s in circles, and there are 9 rows and columns in a Sudoku and 9 boxes, every single row must contribute a circled 9. So this row would have to have its 9 there. But that's all. The problem is that's predicated on there being a 9. Oh, how many circles are there actually? Maybe that's the point. Let me just do a quick count of circlage. 6, 10, 11, nearly missed that one. 15, 20, 26, 31, 35, 39, 43. Ah, that's it. Okay, sorry, I should have started there. 43 circles. So there's no 2 in a circle, is what I think. Because I think this... Well, how do I know this, you may be saying? And that is because I know a secret. And it's a secret... I've never got to use it with circles before, but I normally get to use it in sort of killer Sudoku type puzzles. And it's a secret I only share with my very favourite people. But if you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. I'm going to share it with you. And well, actually, I'll tell you the secret as I normally tell it. The secret is that because I know the contents of any complete row, any complete column, or any complete box of a Sudoku, I can work out the sum of a complete row, complete column, or complete box. And that's the sum of the digits 1 to 9, obviously, and the digits 1 to 9 sum to 45. But that must work the same way for circles in this puzzle. Because, obviously, if I put a 9 in one of these circles, then 9 circles have a 9 in them. So there could be a maximum of 45 circles. If I had a circled 8, a circled 7, etc., then the sum of all the circles would be 45. Now here we've got 43 circles. So I've got to decide which digit in the Sudoku is not getting circled. And I can't miss 2 circled 1s out. So I'm going to have to miss 2 out of circles and have every other number in a circle, and that will allow me to achieve 43 in a unique way. And that tells me, this is lovely actually, that tells me that in row 5, because all of these digits can't be 2, so that's a 2. And in column 5, that's a 2, which shunts the 1 over here. Now, hang on though. Oh no, okay, so 2 in box 5 is not restricted. Yeah, but 2 in box 1 is restricted because it can't go in a circle, and there's not many squares left that can be 2s. Okay, that's not actually done as much for me as I thought it would. Yeah, it would be... no, right. Okay, I'm going to change my mind about that. Look at columns 3 and 7. That's where we're going to look next. That's because in column 3, the 2 can only go in one of two places. But look at the column 7, it's the same. And that is a classic X-wing pattern. Now, I'm not actually sure this does anything, but I'm just going to explain what I'm seeing here. So, and why it might matter, because 2 is locked into one of the green cells in column 3, and 2 is locked into one of the green cells in column 7, we can ask ourselves a facetious question. This is the way to understand X-wings. And the question I want to ask is, in the completed grid, assume we did this puzzle correctly, how many 2s do you think there are going to be in row 2 of the puzzle? And hopefully your answer to that is 1. There is going to be 1 2. And if we ask the same question about row 7, how many 2s are we expecting to be in that row, we'd get the same answer, wouldn't we? There'll be 1 2. So we know the green cells, we know the 2 rows together contain 2 2s. But we also know the green cells contain 2 2s, because there's 1 2 in one of those, and there's 1 2 in one of those. So that means in these rows, none of the rest of the cells can be a 2. Let's just put that in for a second. Yeah, I'm not sure this is doing anything, but it has done a little tiny bit of elimination in, for example, box 3. Because now, by Sudoku, we knew none of those squares could be 2. We also now know this square can't be a 2. We also know that the circle can't be a 2. So actually the 2 in box 3 is now locked into one of 2 places, very symmetrical with box 1's 2s. What about... No. Well, that's a weird pencil mark we get to put in box 9. Where's the 2 in box 9? Well, it's not there by Sudoku, it's not in a circle, and it can't be in an orange square, so we get to put a 2 in one of those squares. No. Okay, no, box 8's no good. I don't think this is working. Box 7's no good. And box 6 is not... box 4 isn't affected by the X-wing, so I think we've still got loads of... a whole panoply of options there. It's almost not worth... I'm going to pencil mark it. Don't you turn my machine off, Bitdefender, you naughty computer program. It wants me to restart my machine to perform some vital update, and no, not now. Yeah, sorry, that's not worked. That's not worked. We were on the wrong lines. Okay, so we need to think about something else. So there's no 2s. Every other digit is circled somewhere. Right. Okay, so I know what that digit is. It's very, very lovely beginning, this. It really is. How do I know what this digit is? Well, we said at the start. Well, we didn't say it at the start, but I sort of was talking about it. How many circles in the puzzle can contain a 1? And the answer to that is 1, because the circles tell you exactly how many circles contain the digit. So we know that there must be a 1 circled in this row, because everything other than 2 is circled. But exactly the same logic applies in that column. And what we can't do is something like that, because that will, if we put 1s in both of those, there'll now be 2 circled 1s, and that's a paradox which we can't deal with. So we have to put 1 in the middle. We have to put 1 in one of those squares. We're going to get very similar pencil marks, I think, for 1s that we got with 2s, because we couldn't put 2s in a circle, and now we can't put any more 1s in circles. Right, okay, that's lovely. Right, so I can actually get something here. Yeah, right. Okay, so row 8 is where we need to look. And the way I saw that is probably suboptimal in terms of scanning, but that won't surprise some of you. But let me explain. So I've done this pencil mark 1 here, and then I started to talk and rabbit on about the fact that 1s can't go in circles. And I looked at this box, and I could see the 1 was therefore in those cells in box number 9, and I could see that married up with where the 1s were in box 8, in the sense they were in the same rows of the Sudoku. And that's a sort of virtual X-wing, in the sense that I know there are now 2 1s in those 7 cells. So I can't have any more 1s in, well, for example, I can't have any more 1s in those squares, can I? Because that's not going to work. Similarly, I couldn't have 1s in any of these squares. But the simpler way of seeing this would actually have been to look at row 8 and notice this pencil mark 1 knocking a 1 out of this square. And then knowing that 1 can't go in a circle, I think I have to write a 1 into that square, which displaced a 2. Well, that's great. No, that is great. That is great, because now we can do exactly that trick with 2s. So where's the 2 in row 8 now? It can't go in a circle, so it has to go there, which means that's not a 2. Oh no, right, this is great. This is great. Where does 1 go in box 4? It's got to go not in a circle. Where does 1 now go in box 1? It's got to go in that cell, and we know there's a 1 in one of these. So this digit is now really restricted, because I've got 4 on the arrow, and I'm adding up to 7, 8 or 9, so that's 3, 4 or 5. Where does 1 go in box? Oh, this is huge, and I've interrupted my X-wing. Oh, yeah, look, everything is going to flow now. Well, 1 in box 3 is there. The 2 has to be here. Remember when we identified that 2 in these columns were in the green squares? Well, you can see the 2 in this column now has to be here. That seems to have to be a 2. 1 in box 6 can't go in a circle. 1 in box 9 can't go in a circle. Hang on, how many 1s have we got? We got all of them, I think. All the 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2s, well, I can get a 2 here, apparently, on an arrow. 2 here. 2 here. How many 2s have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got all the 2s as well. We've got all the 1s. We've got all the 2s. So we must surely turn our attention to 3s. What do we know about 3s? We know that 3 is in a circle. Therefore, we know 3 is in 3 circles. Right, and those 3 circles are in this row, and this row. They're also in that column. Yeah, okay. Whoa. Right, so there is an embedded swordfish in this puzzle, is what we've just learned. So what I noticed was that 3 there are 3 3s that are circled, and I worked out that they have to be in these 3 rows, because everything in these rows that's not 1 or 2 is a circled digit. So these highlighted cells, let's highlight them actually, those cells have to contain the 3 circled 3s. But I could run that logic exactly the same way in the columns. Look, this column, and this column are all completely circled other than the 1s and 2s. So I know the mapping of the 3s has to not only be in the purple cells, but if I make those cells yellow, it has to be in, also would have to be in a yellow cell as well. So only cells that have both colours now could possibly, only those cells could possibly contain 3s. So let's give those their own colour and get rid of yellow. Yellow cannot, and purple, because if we did put one in purple, say I put one in this square here, which was purple, then because I have to put a 3 in one of those, I have to put a 3 in one of those, and I have to put a 3 in one of those. If I did make that a 3, it would be a 4th circled 3, and that's breaking the rules of the puzzle. So we can't do that. The 3s have to... Oh, no, I thought I was going to get the one in the middle column. For some reason, I didn't see this one as being blue. So this is a very odd puzzle, because it's like doing advanced Sudoku tricks. We've had an X-wing, we've now got a swordfish. I would absolutely love it if the fours were a jellyfish. No, I don't think it's going to be as easy with the other rows and columns. For example, this column, it's got a gap. I don't think I quite understand how that works. Let me come back to the blues. So the blues have to contain the 3 3s. So no other circle other than blue can have a 3 in it. Oh, I'll tell you something. That can't be a 3, because that can't be a 2. So if we make that 3, we need to make an arrow work, and that doesn't work. So actually now we've nearly interrupted our ability to well, we've nearly forced the disposition of 3s, haven't we? I don't know how to do that, though, I have to say. Come on, Simon. What's going on? I'm not sure. Is there a way to... I mean, I can see lots of things. I mean, if that's a 3, that's a 3, and that's a 3. That's a 3, that's a 3, and that's a 3. That's a 3, that's a 3, and that's a 3. But I don't think any of these, well, they aren't, are they? All of the rest of the possible positions for 3s are not on arrows. That 3 would knock a 3 out of here and stop this being a 7. Sorry, I think I have a horrible feeling that I'm missing a point here. I can't put 3 into any other circle. So, yeah, maybe that's the point. So 3 in box 1 is limited to one of those 2 cells, because if it's not here, it can't be in another circle, so it would have to be here. Three is in one of those 3 cells. I think I am going to pencil mark the 3s just because it feels... It's not great though, actually. It's really not great. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Because I've just realised something. Okay, so in this column, where does the 3 go? That's a simple question. It's got to go here, doesn't it? And that's because it can't be in a circle. So it goes there, and now this square can't be a 3. And that means... well, that means... If we look at our swordfish disposition now, well, we knew there had to be a 3 in this row in blue, and now it's got to be there, which means this square is no longer able to be a 3. So the 3 in box 2 is in one of those squares, which means the 3 in box 3 is in one of these squares. Doesn't have to be here, remember, because we just have to make sure one of these 2 is a 3. So if that was a 3, that's now going to be a 3. So, okay, but 3... this is great. So where is the 3 in box 9? I think it's got to be there, because it can't be in a circle. And if it's there, that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, proving its position. And that's on an arrow, so 2 plus 3 equals 5. And therefore, don't know. Actually, I really don't know. Let's think about 3 in this box has to be in one of those 2 squares. Wow, no. In the corners. How many 3s have we got? Not many. And I've not pencil marked 3s into this box where we've got 3 possible positions for 3s. Same as this. Very symmetrical, in fact. I've had an idea about 4s now. Because now I can isolate the 4s. Now this square's become a 3. The 4s, yeah, this is interesting. So 4s, we know 4 is a circled digit, so there are 4 circled 4s. Now, there must be a 4 in a circle in this column, therefore. So one of those is a 4. Same is true in this column, because everything is circled. So, well, the problem is it overlaps with the swordfish on the 3s, but there is definitely a 4 in one of those. In this column it's the same. There's definitely a 4 in one of those, and in this column it's the same. There's definitely a 4 in one of those. Which means in no other circle can you put a 4. So all I'm seeing from that looks good. All I'm saying is that in column 9, I can't put 4 in a circle. So I can see there are 2 places for 4 in column 9. I'm just going to stare at this a bit longer, though. I'm just wondering whether, because we got the swordfish on 3s, can we do a swordfish on 4s somehow? 1, 2. Or a jellyfish, it would be 3. I don't think we can. I'm afraid. I don't think we can anyway. I don't think it works the same in the rows. I think I've got 3 rows which are complete, and which would force a 4 into a circle digit. I'm not sure I've got 4. Alright, so we're going to have to think about something different. Okay, so what we need to go back to is my first thought, which is 9s, because I now know 9 is a circled digit. Therefore, every row and every column of this puzzle has to have a circled 9 in it, because there are only 9 9s in the puzzle. And that means that cell, which is the only circled cell available in row 7, that has to be a 9, I think. Now, have we got any other restricted? Nearly. That's nearly restricted, but there's oh no, that is restricted. Isn't it? My brain is weird, right? So I looked at this. I must have looked at it and then disregarded it because I saw the 2 circles in there, and I didn't think about the fact this one's filled in. So where is the 9 in this column? It must be circled. It's got to be there. So now, well, this is beautiful because now it's the same for every Sudoku unit. So we've done a row where we had to put a 9 in a circle. We've done a column where we have to put a 9 in a circle. But it's exactly the same in a box. If we didn't have the 9 circled in here, even if we circled a 9 in every other 3x3 box, we'd only have 8 circled 9s. And that won't work. So, in fact, that is a 9, which means in box 4, that is a 9. Okay, that might be, that might be as far as we can take it, but we can pencil mark a 9 into box 7. because we have to put the 9 in the circle. That gets us a 9 in box 1, actually. Oh no, nearly. We nearly got a 9 in box 2 as a result of that. Okay, so 9 is in one of 3 circles in box 9. Can we do better though? I think... actually, I'm not sure. I think the 9 can go in all 4 circles in box 3. I might be wrong about that. Let's double click on 9. So we've got 5 placed. Now, are any of these in useful positions? Not really. Are any of them affecting, like, the whole geometry of a row or a column? So I'm wondering whether I can now create my X-wing on 4, my jellyfish on 4s. So the jellyfish on 4s, I need to complete a row better than I had it completed before. But that's not going to work, is it? Because all I've actually been able to do there is put circled 9s in. What I need to do is to get digits into the uncircled positions. No, okay, so I can't do that. So actually I'm starting to worry I'm a bit stuck now, because unless I can do something with... I can get rid of the bluage here for my blue 3. I know that the 3s are in... So right, so I've been reduced to an... Right, I think I can get rid of my green shading as well. That was to signify an X-wing on 2s. Because I got this 3, my swordfish on 3s has become an X-wing on 3s into these squares. So we know that the final disposition of 3s in the puzzle either looks like that or looks like that. And whichever way that goes, that's going to fix these two. Sorry, I'm not seeing it at the moment. Just let me think. Is it arrows? It doesn't look like it is. I mean, obviously, if I could get that as a 9, I would know this was a 5. I did get a 5 in a circle. But 5s in circles, they have 4 other circles have to have a 5 in them. Ugh, that feels... Well, there's definitely going to be a circled 5 in this box. Could even be there. No. And I have a feeling... I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay, it's... Yeah, that's really... It's lovely, actually. This is going to do damage as well. This is going to do damage. Right. So the thought I had was about this row, where I suddenly noticed I couldn't put any more digits in circles in this row. But that means that the 8 in this row is not in a circle. But that means that 8 has to be in a circle in every other row, because there are going to be 8 circled 8s in the puzzle, because we know 8 is a circled digit. But then, if you look at that column, we know, because when I was making the mistake about the fact 9 could go into there, we know there are no more circles in this column. So hang on, if I was to put an 8 there, for example, and an 8 there, how does that work with the logic in the puzzle? Well, it doesn't, does it? Because now I've got an uncircled 8 here. That means, in theory, every other 8 in the puzzle's got to be circled, and that one wouldn't be. So the only way to do this is to meet at this particular square has to be the 8, because otherwise we'd have 2 uncircled 8s, and that's contrary to the logic. And that just so happens, look, Marty has put that on an arrow, which now must add up to 9. And now I could see that that was going to plonk a 9 in the corner down here. And therefore, I'm sure this is going to do some stuff. Let's just think. Hang on. So now, okay, so now 9 is in one of 2 cells in box 3. And every other 8 has to be circled, which, well, that feels like it ought to do something. I'm trying to see what it's doing. Come on, Simon. What's that doing? I suppose it's mildly limiting the 8 in box 8. It has to be in one of those 2. It's got to be in one of those 3. Oh, that's so annoying. I don't think it's going to do anything. It got me the 9. It limited a 9 up here. What we need... Yeah, no, I've done it. No, I have done it. It's easier than I thought. Where is the 8 in column 2? Because remember, the only column that can have an uncircled 8 in it is this one. So the 8 in this column must be circled, and actually there's only one more circled digit, so we can get that one. Okay, so that means 8 in box 5 is in a circle, and it's vertical. That's great. That's actually great, because now I can get rid of that pencil mark, so that becomes an 8. I can get rid of that. That's got to become an 8. 8 is in one of 3 positions. Whoopsie. I want to corner mark that. 8 is exactly there by Sudoku. 8 pencil mark, 8 has got to go there. So that's not 8. That's not 8 anymore, which means that's not 4, because these add up to 4. So 8, how many 8s have we got? We've got 5. We've got pencil marks in 1, 2. So we should be able to improve somewhere, I think. What about here? 8 is in, yeah, that's fine. Because 8 can't be in these circles, but it must be circled in this box. It's in the top, and that's going to get us an 8 in box number 1. And right, so that's now we're up to 6 8s. We have pencil mark here, pencil mark here. I can't. Oh, that. Okay, it looks like it's one of these patterns we're not going to be able to resolve between those cells. Okay, so we need to move on from 8s, because there's nothing internal about that logic that can be resolved without interfering somehow with that pattern. So we're back to thinking of 4s or 7s, I suppose. So 7s, what we need now is to work out. Well, the problem is 7 has 2 possible rows or columns that it needn't be circled in. So 7 in this row is clearly uncircled, and 7 in this column is uncircled. So all the other 7s are circled, but it's a bit complicated because, for example, if that square was an uncircled 7 and that cell was an uncircled 7, then you'd need a circled 7 in box 6 and box 7. Okay, but so there must be a circled 7 in boxes 1, 2, 4 and 5. And I want to say box 9 as well, because it's only here and here. Oh no, no, that's wrong, because that could be that could be an uncircled 7, couldn't it? And that would meet the criteria for this one. Oh, bother. Okay, so 1, 2, 4, and 5, I think. Is that worth pencil marking? It doesn't look very appetizing, I have to say. Ugh. No, okay, I don't like that. I'm going to think about 4s again instead, because at least I could. Oh yeah, because there was a situation earlier where I worked out that 4 in the columns, I think it was those 2 squares, had to contain a 4, because I worked out that there are 4 circled 4s, and they must be in these squares. And then I could see that in column 9 you had to have an uncircled 4, but I don't think I pencil marked it. But what can we do with that? I'm not sure we can do anything, actually. Can we... 1, 2, 3... I can't see how. I can't. Sorry, if there is a rinky-dink there, I'm not seeing it. And that's very annoying. Naughty Simon. Is there some trick of the light we can avail ourselves of? I mean, let's just highlight those for a moment. So I know that the 4s are in. It's not actually very clear to me. I want to, maybe if I make them yellow I can see it a bit better. I know that the 4s are in some subset of the circles here. But that seems to be... Okay. So this cell can't be a circled 4 then. Yeah, well, that's exactly the same as why I've got the orange thing in here. So I suppose 4 in box 9 is in one of those 2 squares. Maybe that's something. So 4 in row 8 is very, very restricted. Just one of those 2 cells, I think. Oh, hang on, I've got an arrow here. Oh, that's quite important. Look, I've got an arrow here. Let's forget about 4s. Let's get rid of this, because look, I can make that a 6 just by maths. And that displaced a 3 pencil mark, but okay. I thought that was going to be helpful, because it was going to unlock the 3s for me. That feels, oh yeah, that is quite an interesting deduction. So now 6 goes over here. So now 6 in this box has to be in one of those squares, the same squares that I've got 4s in. So that seems to now have to be a 7. So 7 does now. 7 in row 7 is going to be in one of those. 7 in column 8 is going to be in one of these. That's the 2 uncircled 7s. So every other box has to have a circled 7 in it. I don't know. I don't think we can do it, unfortunately. I just don't think we can do it. Is that a valid pencil mark? That 3 there? Why have I got 3? Oh, yeah. Look, here's something. 3 is in one of those 2 squares in box 5. Therefore, it's not here. And it's not here. So now I've only got 1, 3. Hang on a second. The X-wing rules 3 out of there. Yeah, this can't be a 3, or again the X-wing breaks. Yeah, this is fine. So 3 in this box is there apparently, and that's going to unwind my X-wing on 3s. Let me just double check that. So what we said originally, I think, was that 3 is definitely in one of those two, definitely in one of those two. That feels right. So you can't put a 3 there, you'd have to put 2 3s in row 3. So that's definitely not a 3. That seems to not be a 3 because of this pencil mark. So, and why that clearly can't be a 3. I say that clearly can't be a 3. Why did I think that? Yeah, that's because of the original. That was the original issue, wasn't it? Is that the 3s had to occupy this sort of lattice. Yeah, it was originally in that lattice. But it has to be at the intersections of the lattice. So that could never be a 3, or you'd end up with too many 3s in the rows, because you'd have a 3 in one of those, a 3 in one of those, and that 3, and that's 4 3s which are all circled. So that isn't a 3, and that means that is a 3, and that means that's a 3, and that's unwound my blue X-wing on 3s. Let's see what that does to the world. So we can get rid of the blue shading. And can we do Sudoku? Maybe. Yeah, I can get the 3 here. How many 3s have we got now? Quite a few. I seem to think that that's a 3 now. Sort of, I'm taking my time here because there's quite a lot of things floating around and the pencil marking is probably not optimal. Okay, so I'm left with, I've got 7 3s in the grid and I've got an X-wing left of 3s that won't be resolved by 3s because there's nothing about the 3 logic that can disambiguate that. But if we knew that was a 5, so if we knew that was a 9, that would disturb the final X-wing on 3s. So how do we know that's a 9? We could work that out, but if we knew that was a 9... Ah, no. No. Right, here's something. This row is now much fuller than it used to be. So isn't that going to allow me to think about 4s differently? Hang on. 1, 2. Because I had the 4s sketched out in columns, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the positions of 4s. The circled 4s have to appear in green cells. But that row, this row now didn't used to be, that row and that row also have to have circled 4s in. So that means only cells at the intersections of these points can be the 4s in the puzzle. So we can get rid of everything that's not actually a 4 in these squares. Let's do that firstly. So everything that's in a colour that's not a 4. Yeah, it's sort of I don't know why I'm finding this hard to do. Anything that's not 2 colours, we can get rid of that as well. They can't be 4s. That's not a 4. That's not a 4. That's not a 4. I obviously missed that row. Those 2 are not in 2 colours. These are not in 2 colours. That's not a 4. That's not in 2 colours. These aren't in 2 colours. Okay, so... oh, that's not in 2 colours. Oh, hang on. Well, that's going to be important. That's going to be very important because I've got that square down to 4 or 6 and I believe I've just proved it can't be a 4. Hang on, let me think. No, that's right, that must be right. That's totally obviously right because the 4s are definitely in these rows. Why isn't that? No, that's not got the opportunity to be a 4. Yeah, so... yes, and this is uncircled. I was suddenly thinking, but this is uncircled, but that's fine. It needs to be uncircled. So this is not a 4. Or there would be 5 circled 4s in the rows. That's lovely. So that's 6. That's 4. So that we can get rid of our orange shading now, and we're still going to think about 4s. I think the 4s they've got stuff going on. Now, I thought we were going to be able to do Sudoku, but maybe we can't. 6s. Yeah, let's come back and think about these 4s. So, I don't think any of them are actually resolved, though. I might be wrong about that. So the 4s in this puzzle sit in these sort of greeny, bluey squares. Right. So where's the 4 in this column? Because it's not in those 2 squares, because in this row it's in one of those 2 squares. They're a 4-6 pair. So that's a 4. And now these 2 can't be 4s, so they lose their colour. And and now where's the 4 in this row? It's got to be here. And now that loses its colour. So we can... So there's a 4 in one of those 2 squares. The 4 in this row now seems to only be able to be there. That's taken the pencil mark of an 8. So let's put an 8 in case that matters. 8. No, that's just reduced 8s to an X-wing up there. Naughty, naughty thingy. That's now not a 4. So 4s are left in this X-wing pattern. Okay, well that's still better than we were. Double click the 4s and see if we can see anything else. Yes, where does the 4 go in that box now? It's got to go exactly there. Which means that 4, which can't be, 4 can't be circled. Remember that the 4 circled 4s are in... Yes, I should have left the shading into those squares. That's going to be easier to see. The 4 circled 4s are in these coloured cells. So that's got to be a 4. That's going to take the position of a 3. Oh, that's huge. That's huge if that's right. This is massive because look. Yeah, look, that's becoming a 3, so that's becoming a 3, but now this arrow's being completed, so that's got to be a 7. And that 4 seems to be pushing a 4 here. So 4s... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've nearly done all the 4s. We've nearly done all the 4s. We've just learnt about a new digit. We've learnt a bit about a 7. 9 in this box is suddenly fixed. That might have been done for ages, I don't know, but it definitely goes there. That puts a 9 in the corner up here. That means that square's an 8 using our pencil marking. This is ridiculous. That's now an 8. That's now a 6 using our pencil marking. So these squares are 5 and 7 in the column. And in this column we have not placed 5 and 6, I think. So that square is a 7 by Sudoku. These 2 squares are 5 and 6 by Sudoku. How's that getting resolved? That's going to have to be resolved by having the right numbers of 5s or 6s circled in the grid. I mean, imagine there were no circles in these squares. How would you distinguish the ordering of this little foursome? You couldn't. You could put the 5s there and the 6s there, or the other way round, and there would be nothing about the logic of the puzzle that would tell you which of those was correct. There'd still be there'd still be a 5 and a 6 in row 2, and a 5 and a 6 in row 3, and a 5 and a 6 in a column, and the column in the boxes. So there'd be nothing about the logic that would differentiate those 2 patterns, and therefore the puzzle would have at least 2 solutions. So we know that something is going on with the circles that's going to fix that. Right, these are also 5 and 6, so these are 4 and 7. Can we keep this going then? These have to be 5 and 7, I think, by our old friend Sudoku, that fair weather mistress. Now, what about down here? That's got to be a 7 by Sudoku. So these squares are 5. They're 5 and 6 as well, which means that square's got to be a 7, which means this... Oh, it's a 5. Ah. Bother. Hang on. What's going on? Maybe this is the point we have to count circles, but I'm just going to check this row. That's a 5. I see it. It's 5, 6s and 7s, isn't it? 5, 6s and 7s. So, what's the best way of doing this? Is it 5s? 1? Maybe we count... Yeah, okay, I can do it by thinking about 5s. I suspect there's a few ways of doing this, but let's think about 5s. There are 5 circled 5s in this puzzle. Let's highlight them. That's one of them. Now, in this box, one of those is a 5, so that's a second one. One of those is a 5, so that's a third one. One of these is a 5, so that's a fourth one. One of these is a 5, which is a fifth one. So that's all the circled 5s that we can possibly have. So in this box you cannot have a circled 5, which means that square's got to be 6. And that's how that deadly pattern gets unwound. But I think that might be... Well, no, I can carry on with that logic. I can't then have a 5 in the circles here, because that would break for exactly the same reason. So that's got to be 5. That disrupts some of this pattern. 6, 7 here. Now that becomes the 5. That's going to be the 5. That's going to be the 6. So that's a 7. That's a 7. That's a 4. This is so clever. It's so clever, this puzzle. And yeah, so that 7 is doing this stuff. 7, 6, 6, 5. We finished it, I think. Let me just correct my shadings of 5 so that we can... Let's double click all the 5s actually. Make them all red. Let's get rid of the shadings for the 4s that we didn't have. So these are the 4s. Maybe I should have only done the circled actually. Maybe that would have been more in keeping, wouldn't it? So those lose. That is a circled 5. Yeah. The suddenly thing is that circle just applying to the arrows, but I think that's how the circles work here. They sort of do double duty. So in fact, look, we can do it for every digit, can't we? So the 2s never got. The 2s were never going to be circled. So there's the 3s. We've done the 4s. We've done the 5s. In fact, the 4s we're using 2 colours by doing it that way, so we shouldn't do that. 6s. So the circled 6s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, when we find a 7th, we're like, that one isn't, and that. No, I think that's right. That looks great. So 7s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we've got 2 that aren't. Okay, so which colour? Orange. 8s and 9s to go. Well, 9s we know. All the 9s were in circles. That's something that we did understand fairly early on. And 8s we know it was just this one, wasn't it? That we don't have to worry about. So that's the 8s and how they work. And that one as well. And what colour have we not had? Blue. Wow. I feel like I've only... Yeah, every circle has been coloured. Okay, so it must be something like that. I think the solution is, let's click tick. Yay, we did it. We did it. Shade under an hour on the clock. What a brilliant puzzle. That's just fantastic. So averaging about 10 people a day. I really hope lots of people have a go at that because it's brilliant. It's brilliant the way the logic works. Marty, that is a stunning, stunning puzzle. Thanks to all of you who sent in a recommendation for that one. You were utterly, utterly correct. It's just brilliant. I mean, it's incredible how many sort of classic Sudoku tricks pop out of circles. It's just a really interesting and weird puzzle. And Circular Reasoning is a great title for it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.